Hey everybody, it's Greg LaBeouf. Hey, listen, welcome to another episode of Awaken the Protector Within. Hey, it's been a little bit. I've been away, took a small little vacation, a little break from everything, but I'm back and I'm super excited to talk to you today. I want to share something with you that is really relevant. As a matter of fact, I just launched a brand new marketing campaign just yesterday, and I called it Confrontation Domination. And already I'm getting some interesting feedback. Now, here's what I want to share with you today. I want you to understand that it's okay to win. And not just win, it is okay to absolutely dominate. So the big question was this: what do good people do when a society's laws and institutions fail to keep them safe from aggression and violence? How do you get through a growing number of angry, hateful, aggressive people and still remain physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and positive? That was the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Greg LaBeouf, and welcome to Awaken the Protector Within. Okay, so listen, what are we talking about? We're talking about winning. We're talking about dominating, not just winning. But here's a couple interesting things. I said that I just launched a marketing campaign. You see, I believe that we need to begin to learn, to train, not only kids when it comes to bullying in the schools, but adults when it comes to bullying, violence, and aggression in the workplace, but also when it comes to just living life. You can't go anywhere now. Your supermarket, driving home, and you're experiencing road rages, and our kids' sporting events, and we're experiencing, individuals that are, they're under the influence, and they're expressing in hateful, debasing, degrading ways. True or false, people today act like they can say anything to anyone at any time with zero repercussions, and they don't give a crap about the effects that it has on anybody. Anybody, right? That is true. At least my perspective, and doing this for 25 years, that's what I'm seeing. So here, we need to begin to dominate confrontation. Why? Because the effects of aggression, violence, and bullying are at an epidemic level. When you have kids as young as 8, 9, and 10 years old turning to suicide because of aggression, violence, and bullying, we have a massive problem. And the coping skills that our kids have, these young kids have, are the same coping skills that adults have today, which means they're failing, they're not working. And we have more and more people that are under the influence, more and more people that are willing to degrade, debase, and dehumanize. So listen, I think we need to start training people to absolutely dominate confrontation. But here's what I really want to share with you today. Our society, and for most of us, are programmed to not want to win. And that sounds funny at first because you think, no, it's the other way. It's like, you got to win, you got to make the most money, you got to have the best car, the biggest house, all this stuff. You need. That's our status. But really, here's what it is. I know so many people that if they are in if they got the best news of their life, they are so excited that they instantaneously begin to self-regulate that. They hide it. If somebody comes up and says, how are you? They don't jump up and down and go, you won't believe what just happened to me. I'm lit up. This was the best day ever. Why don't they do that? Because they're afraid they're going to make the other person feel bad. They're afraid that they're going to get judged. If you're happy or you're successful or whatever it is, you really hide that because other people will judge you. Other people will literally look at that, got it all, think life's so great, so easy for them. They will ostracize you. They will, matter of fact, that will trigger some bullying, right? So we are wired to where it's like we want to hide our wins in a way, right? Yet you look at social media and Facebook and you'll see the best 15 minutes of everybody's day. We're trying to all put on this kind of front. There's this real duality that is happening. Now, why I want to bring this all up and why I think this ties into our marketing campaign is because already, after launching this one day, we're already getting some interesting feedback. And some of that feedback comes in this form. You see, when you say that you want to train people to dominate confrontation, right away you get a certain group of people out there that go, oh my God, you're going to train people to be aggressive. You're going to train people to be violent, to bully, and to torment, because that's the only way that you can dominate somebody. And dominate confrontation is to become the bully or the aggressor. Wrong. They're seeing it in such one way. This is the same problem we have with what it is to win. And why we have to actually train ourselves that it's okay to win. It's okay to have victories. You don't have to be arrogant about those things, but we need to learn to actually dominate. Okay, so let me kind of break this down. How we teach people to dominate confrontation. See, there's only one thing in this world that any of us can control, and that is yourself. When it comes to dominating confrontation, You have got to dominate your inner beings. You've got to dominate the battles that are going on inside of you, mentally, emotionally, or even outside physically, whatever it is. And that is a process that you can't go in halfway. You have got to be all in with learning to gain control over your fears, over your self-doubts, over your negative self-images, whatever that is. We get that, right? If you're trying to play to just go, well, I want to be successful, but I don't want too much success because people will think ill of me. People will think that I'm arrogant, or people think that, whatever it is. So many of us have these paradigms that are constantly forcing us subconsciously to find middle ground. It's to be like, well, be happy, but don't be too happy because people will judge you. Well, be successful, but don't be too successful because other people will look down on you. Other people will judge you for that. All of the things, be this, be that, but it's not working. It's not working for us. Matter of fact, in the tactical world, when it comes to physical self-defense, physical self-preservation, there are so many people out there that, again, they'll look at law enforcement and say, listen, I get sometimes you've got some bad people and they're out there to hurt other innocent people. But why don't you just shoot them in the arm? Like, why don't we just shoot them in the leg? Why don't we just get, isn't there a way that we could get a gun and shoot quick hardening foam around them so that we don't have to hurt anybody? To get what I mean by this, it's like, why have we lost reality in things? The reality is that in this world, you're going to have some bad people. Sometimes you're going to have good people that are going to get pushed to a place and they're going to make some very bad decisions, and those decisions and their actions can destroy the lives of innocent people around them. So we need to make sure that in whatever area it is of our lives, that we are playing all in, which means if it comes to confrontation, every single time, without hesitation, I will say, I want the intended victim, the intended target, I want them to win. I don't just want them to win. I want them to dominate that conversation, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. What does that mean? Well, take it how you will. If it's a physical assault, I want the intended victim. If there's a woman that is the target of some rapist, some guy trying to commit a sexual assault against her, oh yeah, I want her to dominate that. Absolutely unequivocally, I want her to dominate that physically. If it comes to somebody trying to bully, use aggression or violence or mental, emotional abuse and torment, debase, dehumanize, I want that intended target, I want them to dominate that confrontation. I want them to dominate it verbally. I want them to dominate it emotionally. I want them to dominate it. Here's what people think. People think that when you're in it to win it, that means that you are maliciously destroying somebody. Yet, every single day, we have top athletes, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky's, people that trained their entire lives to dominate competition, to get in there and to crush them. And yet we cheer and pay millions of dollars. These players make millions of dollars a year to not just be half decent. Let's not make the games even. Let's dominate. Everyone wants their team to crush the other teams. If you can go undefeated in a season, that is the pinnacle of it. We go to companies, and yet we want corporations and companies, and if you're in business, you want to crush the competition. Apple doesn't want an equal market share. Apple wants to dominate the market share. You see, we have this weird wiring. In certain aspects, we're like, that's what it is. That's business. That's the name of the game. That's all this stuff. We see the domination in sports and all this stuff, and it's all acceptable. Yet somehow when it comes to bad people with intent, consciously or unconsciously, but taking actions, verbally, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever they're doing, that can literally are destroying people's lives, causing a tremendous amount of pain and suffering. Somehow we don't want to talk about or train people to be able to dominate those situations. It's okay to post the best 10 minutes of every single day of your life onto Facebook, and you present it in a way where you go, everything's perfect, and look at my life, where we're trying to gain status on everybody. But in person, if somebody's genuinely happy or genuinely successful, we've got to repress or hide that, because that will literally cause people to judge us. That will cause people to ostracize. That will cause people to not like you, to all of those different things. We've got this weird dichotomy happening in today's world. And so this has turned into a massive rant, but the passion is this. We need to be around, I want to personally be around in life, people that are like ridiculously happy. I want to be around people that are ridiculously successful. All of it, right? Why? I want to be around people that are absolutely dominating life. Maybe they're just dominating in business. Maybe they're dominating in relationships. But I want to be around those people. Why? Because that is what leads to a phenomenal life. So inside of yourself, take a reflection and think, because I guarantee there's things inside of you that you are restraining for fear of the judgment, where you should absolutely express that, thrive with that, and never be embarrassed, ashamed, or whatever to hide the areas that you're absolutely dominating in. And if there's areas that you're not dominating in, like we all have, find somebody who is. Find somebody who is. Stop playing for the middle. Stop playing for mediocre. Let's start to dominate, right? We need to get, and let's come back, I'll just bring it back to violence and aggression here. But we need to start raising a generation of kids that absolutely understand how to dominate confrontation. Why? Because that'll stop the bullying. That's what'll stop the bullying. Is when these individuals, these other young kids who are under the influence for many different reasons, who need help, who, all this different stuff, but when they start to target and they attempt to victimize and bully, when you have individuals that understand what the hell is going on and have the skills and the knowledge and the understanding to be able to dominate those situations, you don't cause, that doesn't turn somebody into an aggressor. That allows somebody to find their voice. That allows somebody to have confidence and certainty. Even if everybody else around them seems to be against them, that's what allows them to find their voice and their certainty. That's how they stay empowered. That's how you prevent them from absorbing trauma. Let me end this way and try to bring it to a personal experience. I was the victim of a violent assault. You probably know that if you're listening to this podcast. But here's the thing. After that, I became exactly what everybody is afraid that when you learn to dominate something that you're going to become. I was broken mentally, emotionally, and physically. But I hid it all. I masked it all. How did I mask it? I masked it with a bravado. I masked it with an ego and an arrogance. I masked it with an anger. I was, hyper vigilant. And, somebody even looked at me wrong. I was aggressive, right? I was aggressive. I was, it was all these different negative things. What caused that? That wasn't because I was trying to dominate. That was because I was scared, because I was broken, because I didn't have the skills, I didn't have the understanding. That's what caused it. The second that I actually started getting training, the second that I actually found mentors that understood violence and aggression, they taught me from the get-go. There's one thing I'm certain of. There was no confusion on this. If I was to train with them, you had to be in it to win it. And when you get into that, they taught me how to dominate confrontation. And here's the thing. If people don't go in the training, I get why they don't understand this. But it starts in here. Your biggest enemy, your biggest opponent, your strongest, most difficult opponent is the one that resides right inside your mind and inside of your emotions. And you have got to become an absolute beast. You have got to be taught how to dominate the confrontation internally. And man, when you get that, that's when you start to dominate confrontation externally. And it's never in the way people think. It's in a way where you come at it where you have more compassion, more patience, more humility. You have more of all of the qualities that we want in our society. But you also have the strength and the conviction and the voice and the empowerment that goes with it. So I believe that if we had a culture now, a society where we stopped, being afraid to celebrate victories, to encourage people to train and to grow and to push themselves. Stop with the participation ribbons. Everybody gets a medal. Nobody wins. All that stuff. Winning is a good thing. Being taught to lose is a good thing. Being taught to grow is a good thing. Right? It's all hopefully starting to make sense for you and see it in maybe a slightly different way. But either way, we're in it to win it. And I believe that we need to dominate confrontation. But I believe that you need to, in your life, not be afraid to excel, not be afraid to win, not be afraid to dominate in every single aspect of your life. All right, everybody. Listen, came back, had a week off, had a lot built up. And this is a great place for me to let that out and share it with you. So listen, I appreciate every single one of you for listening and taking the time. Hopefully you're getting something out of each and every one of these podcasts. And listen, I'm going to leave it at that. Until next time, as always, please stay safe, stay ready, and remember, off that X is only one step away. Want to awaken your protector within? If so, then head to awakentheprotectorwithin.ca and get your free Off the X training today.